Hello, Steve White, TrekBoy89 for Steve Arts89. Well, bad news. Thanks to Jack Beers and the Star Trek Discovery Picard Sucks non-fan page, we get the horrible, heartbreaking article, CBS beats copyright claims over Star Trek Discovery, by Blake Brittain. Now, anyone familiar with this knows that basically the typing chimps at Secret Hideout apparently, allegedly, stole the idea of a independent game creator. I can't pronounce his name. God, that's so bad. Oh well. That's right, Anas Abdin. I always want to say Abdin Anas. I'm bad with names. Yeah, basically he created a point and click game, or was creating a point and click game where he had a giant tardigrade that people used to travel through space and time, and he had a bunch of characters established, and all this was done before Discovery was written. And the typing chimps at Secret Hideout apparently saw this, and whether deliberately, allegedly, stole the idea deliberately or just absorbed it into their brains and spewed it out like their own idea. And it's totally obvious for anyone to see who's seen the stills and Discovery knows the game. It's really obvious what they did. And it's hard to prove that someone did that and did that intentionally, but to ignore that it happened is just, I can't believe that the copyright laws, the respect for art and artists' ideas and intellectual property is just not being respected. And the whole justification that they gave was so ridiculous. Basically what they said was, well, tardigrades exist in real life and they can exist in space, so therefore we can't copyright the use of them in this way to travel through space, time and space, the way this game creator has and the way Discovery stole. Because they exist and can exist in space, we can't copyright them. That's ridiculous. It's like somebody copying the story of Jaws and then going to court and them saying, oh, we can't copyright that story because sharks exist and they swim in water. So we can't, it's just so ridiculous. That's what it came down to, which seemed to be what they argued the first time. Well, they seem to be, they dismissed the argument basically saying, well, he's asking us to copyright a creature that exists and we can't do that. That's ridiculous. And then they, managed to make it clear to these people we're not saying he's not claiming copyright to the creature because, God created it. He didn't create it. But the use of it and the story and the characters, because it's not just that element. If you look at, there's so many elements, the appearance and characters, the redhead like Tilly, the Michael Burnham character in the yellow jumpsuit, just like the one when she goes to prison. We see her in the third episode, the real first episode of Discovery, the one they saved until after it was off CBS. They gave people the first two episodes, which weren't quite as bad as the third episode, to lead them into going to CBS All Access before they actually saw what Discovery was really like in the third episode, once they get on Discovery. But yeah, basically these people, these writers, these typing monkeys, allegedly are hacks. They have no talent. They have no ideas of their own. All they can do is steal other people's ideas, allegedly, supposedly. I'm not accusing them of anything. I wasn't there. I don't know anything. But yeah, it's really obvious what happened. But of course, I'm terrified of them randomly seeing my little video that no one watches and saying, let's make an example of this no one, and prove that no one can even have an individual thought or express it online. It's not just the big people we'll take down, or the big people that get in trouble. We'll get anyone. We'll make an example out of the smallest person. I reckon that's not above those sort of people. because they don't respect art, they don't respect IP, they don't respect individuals. All they care about is corporations and power. And obviously CBS and Netflix's money and power are what led to this decision, not the actual facts or just logic or intelligence or any of those elements that those people apparently didn't use, allegedly. I don't know if these people were actually corrupted by the money somehow, or the power, or intimidated by the power of the companies, the size of the companies, just the consequences of them having consequences thanks to these people. I don't know what caused them to make the wrong decision, but like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know what they did or why they did it, but the conclusion speaks for itself, and they are wrong. Is obvious copyright infringement. They stole his idea, allegedly, supposedly, and they've been doing this the whole time. Brian Fuller, he created Discovery. He created a whole bunch of pictures, and they fired him and then used all these pictures without telling him. They created a card from his idea, but they didn't even tell him. They didn't even have the decency to tell him, oh, we're using your idea, we're making that show that you gave us, that you created for us, because they paid for it, so they own those pictures. But they were still his ideas. You still acknowledge or inform out of courtesy and artistic respect. You respect the artist and let them know what you're doing. You don't just do it to them. So he didn't know that they'd done that until he saw the previews or the ads or the announcement, like everyone else. And that feeling of violation was real. He cried. I mean, that's what these people do. And Mecca and that did a really good video about how creatively corrupt Kurtzman is, because every story in the Kelvin verse and the Discovery verse and the Picard verse, because it's sure as hell not TNG universe or the original canon universe there, it's just the same revenge story about a villain. And they just took that from Wrath of Khan. And unfortunately, since Wrath of Khan, everyone thinks all Star Trek is, the layman's, the general audience, those people, all they think is Star Trek is a bunch of people in a spaceship fighting baddies, like fighting Klingons. It's like Star Wars, but it's the Enterprise, and some random alien or the Klingons or whatever instead of Darth Vader. That's all they can comprehend when it comes to Star Trek. And that's what all these people, these typing monkeys at Secret Hideout, all they do is regurgitate the same revenge idea, the same story, and they did it for the movies. Now for TV, they're just doing it, and they're just dragging it and stretching it out for one whole season. It's just a different villain each season, a different war each season, because they can't, they couldn't even write a season of episodes with actual individual stories that were told as well as the original Star Trek, or had value, or morals or ideas or concepts or anything like that. All they can do is just regurgitate the same revenge story arc, war story arc for each season. That's all they can do. It's just sad. And I'm really sad that Anas didn't get this win. He went up against David and Goliath. He went up against them the first time, and they knocked him back because basically they pretended like they didn't know what was actually being argued, and just said, oh, well, you can't claim a creature that exists. So, and now they're saying basically the same thing. Well, you can't copyright this idea, this concept of using this creature to travel through space the way he did, because it exists, the creature exists, it can exist in space, and some scientists have theorized things similar. So apparently they believe that the talking chimps and typing chimps at Secret Hideout actually read this research and understood it, and came up with this concept by themselves. Supposedly, allegedly, they didn't. So it's just really sad that this person's work is being just stolen from him. He's not being compensated, and he's wasted all this time and money, and gotten all this abuse from all these haters and all these dreckies for nothing, because apparently art doesn't matter, individual the individual doesn't matter, the individual rights don't matter. All that matters is corporations can use whatever they want for whatever reason they want to make money. That's what America comes down to. It's just really sad. And these people, I want to read out their names. I did this. I was reading this before. Where are they? I want to name and shame these people. Judge Denny Chin, who wrote the opinion, joined by Judge Susan L. Carney and Judge Kari A. Dooley, sitting by designation. All these people, in my opinion, which I'm entitled to, are incompetent. They should not have been given this decision to make. Either that or allegedly, supposedly, in my opinion, they've been corrupted by the power of the studios to ignore the law and ignore what they should have done. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know what they did or how they came to their conclusion, but the conclusion speaks for itself. It's wrong. They made the wrong decision. They shouldn't have been, there to actually make that decision. But I'm going to go and just mourn this, because it wouldn't have taken Discovery off the air. It would have discredited it as it deserved to be. It would have given us some money, because they would have had to pay him basically for working on the show. But they still would have had the show on the air. They would have just paid him. I don't know if he could have had the show taken off because they stole his idea, and if he didn't allow to be paid off basically for his time and his ideas, if it would have kept it that was the sort of vain sort of hope that it would actually stop them from showing the show, because they couldn't, because they stole the copyright and didn't own it. But either way, they just would have paid him a lot of money, and they just would have cost them more than it would have if they'd just got an actual artist to write, a creative person to actually write a story like that, instead of taking it from, supposedly taking it from someone else and their work. But I'm going to go. If you're free to share, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. And if you do disagree with me, I reckon most fans will agree with me, but if you do disagree with me, please explain why, instead of just telling me I'm wrong and calling me an idiot or something, because that doesn't really explain your argument. So I'm going to go. Feel free to comment. Comments are fun.